Throughout history, women have played an important role in our way of life. Back in the day, women were more known for staying at home and cleaning, let alone going to a war to fight some foreign country. But when World War II struck, this all changed for women. These are the women of World War II. During World War II, some of 350,000 women served in the U.S. Armed Forces, both home and aboard. They included the women service pilots. Between 1940 and 1945, the female percentage of the U.S. workforce increased from 27% to nearly 37%, and by 1945, nearly 1 out of every 4 married women worked outside the home. Women served in many different positions in the direct support of military efforts. Military women were excluded from combat positions, but that didn't keep some from being in harm's way. Nurses were near combat zones and ships, for instance. And some were killed. Many women became nurses or used their nursing expertises in the war effort. Some became Red Cross nurses. Others, about 74,000 women, served in the American Army and Naval Nurse Corps in World War II. Women also served in other military branches, often the traditional women's work, secretarial duties, or cleaning, for instance. Others took traditional men jobs in non-combat work to free more men for combat. The infamous painting we know as Rosie the Riveter started off as a propaganda campaign. Based in small parts on real life, beautician workers, but primarily a fictitious character, the strong, bandana-clad Rosie became one of the most successful recruitment tools in American history and the most iconic image of working women during World War II. In movies, newspaper posters, photographs, articles, and even a Norman Rockwell painted Saturday Evening Post cover, the Rosie the Riveter campaign stressed the patriotic need for women to enter the workforce, and they did, in huge numbers. Though women were crucial to the war effort, their pay continued to lag far behind from the male counterparts. Female workers rarely earn more than 50% of male wages. During World War II, the percentage of the American women who worked outside the home at a paying work increased from 25% to 36%. More married women, more mothers, and more majority women had found jobs they had before the war. Because of the absence of many men who either joined the military or took jobs in war-produced industries, some women moved outside their traditional roles and took positions and jobs usually reserved for men. Propaganda posters with images like Rosie the Riveter promoted the idea that it was patriotic and not unfeminine for women to work in non-traditional jobs. If you use an electric mixer in your kitchen, you can learn to run a drill press, urged an American War Manpower campaign. As one example in the American shipbuilding industry, where women had been excluded from jobs, except a few office jobs. Before the war, American presidents worked over 9% of the workforce during the war. Thousands of women moved to Washington, D.C. to take government office and support jobs. There were many jobs of women in Los Angeles and Oak Ridge, as the U.S. explored nuclear weapons. In conclusion, women are a big part of our way of life. They help us to shape our own path to victory. We would be nowhere without them, and after all they did, we should have a huge sense of pride and respect for each and every one of them.